Okay, so today's lesson is two steps with decimals and fractions. All right, my learning targets are that I can solve a two-step equation involving fractions for a variable, and I can solve a two-step equation involving decimals for a variable. All right, and the first example I have is a two-step equation involving decimals. So I'm going to solve 0.2x plus 3.2 equals 3.4. Now decimals are nothing special, right? You just have to treat them like, you use regular numbers. So I'm going to figure out what's going on with the x, try to get it by itself. So in this case, the x is being multiplied by 0.2, and I'm adding 3.2 to it. So as a review from yesterday, kind of think about what it is that you have to do first. Okay, so what you should be thinking is I have to subtract first. All right, so I've got plus 3.2. Okay, so to get rid of that, I'm put up my mirror, and I need to subtract 3.2 from both sides. Remember, because whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Okay, so getting rid of 3.2 minus 3.2 becomes 0, and then on the other side, 3.4 minus 3.2, well, 4 minus 2 is 2, no remainder, and then 3 minus 3 is 0, so it's 0.2 on the other side. Okay, and so all I'm left with over here is the 0.2x, so that comes down. Okay, and I need to solve for x, and I'll put the 0 there. This is being multiplied, so 0.2 times x, so I need to divide by 0.2. Divide by 0.2. Okay, and when I do that, that becomes 1. Those drop out. I'm left with just x, which is what I want. I want to get a value for x. And 0.2 divided by 0.2, as it happens, is also 1. So x is equal to 1. Okay, so remember, anything divided by itself is equal to 1. So 0.2 divided by 0.2 is 1. If you run into more complicated decimals, feel free to use a calculator. You don't have to try to do that in your head. All right. For my next example, I have 1/3 x plus, and I need to change this because it should not be 5/6. Okay, I'm going to change that to what it should be, 2/3. So this is what you should have. It's 1/3 x plus 2/3 equals 1/6. All right, so to finish up this problem, first thing, I'm looking at the x. I'm multiplying it by 1/3, but we don't want to multiply first. Remember, our first step is to add or subtract. Now from this, I'm adding 2/3. So to balance the equation and get x by itself, I need to get rid of that 2/3. So I'm going to subtract 2/3 from both sides. Now the problem here is that this fraction has a 6 and this fraction has a 3. So before I can subtract them, ignoring everything that's happening over here for now, I have to make the denominators common. Now think about for a second, what is going to make this a common denominator? Okay, what you should have gone for is 6. So both denominators need to be 6, so now you need to think about what do I need to multiply 3 by to make it 6? And the answer is 2. Okay, 3 times 2 is 6. Now, if I do something to the bottom, to avoid changing the problem, I also need to do it to the top. So every time I change common denominators, I multiply both the top and the bottom by whatever number I need to. So this problem is going to become 1/6 minus 2 times 2 is 4 over 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, so now I've got 1/6 minus 4/6, and remember, we keep the denominator, so keep the 6, and I'm subtracting across the top. I'm taking 1/6 and I'm subtracting 4/6 from it. So that should give me negative 3/6. Okay, so if I come down here, I'm left with 1/3 x equals, so this equals negative 3 over 6. Now, problem here is that I can actually simplify this even further. Negative 3 over 6 is equal to, if I divide both of these by 3, negative 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down here. So simplify. So 1/3 x equals negative 1/2. And so to get that 1/3 off the x, remember I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, which in this case, so I need to flip the fraction. So I'm going to multiply by 3/1 on both sides. So remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. And what happens is that becomes 1. So I'm left with just x, then -1 times. Remember, for multiplying fractions, just multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. So -1 times 3 is -3. 2 times 1 is 2. So my answer is x equals -3/2. All right. And on my second example, it looks a little bit different because I'm taking 2x plus 5 and I'm dividing the whole thing by 5. So before I can get x by itself, I have to get rid of this division by 5. Okay, remember, this bar just means that I'm dividing, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So to get rid of this division by 5, I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. Okay, when I do that, this cancels out. Now, I shouldn't say cancels, it becomes 1. Everything up top is left unaffected because this 5 being multiplied is being divided immediately by this 5. So I'm going to rewrite everything on top as 2x plus 5. And then 3 times 5 on the other side, because whatever I do to one side, remember it's like a mirror, I have to do to the other. So I've got 3 times 5 is 15. So now that we've gotten this far, I want you guys to practice because this is from yesterday. So pause the video for a second and see what you come up with for the rest of this problem. Okay, so what you should have done is this is 2x. I'm adding 5 to it. So to get rid of the 5, I'm going to create another mirror. I need to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 5. Okay, subtract 5 from one side, I have to subtract it from the other. So I get 2x is equal to 15 minus 5 is 10. Okay. Now I'm multiplying 2 times x. I'm going to do the opposite and divide. So divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 becomes 1, leaving me with just x. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. So x is equal to 5. Okay, so there's 6 practice problems like that, like these 3. I want you to complete those for tomorrow and be ready to talk about them. Have a good night.